Hello there, welcome to my ever so slightly delayed review of the fourth episode of season 5 of Lower Decks, A Farewell to Farms. So, anybody who's been paying attention to my reviews recently, or even Jules Across the Stars, um, where we rank Star Trek and Star Wars, I usually have somebody else doing with me. Olympus, unfortunately, he is very under the weather at the moment, so he's had to pull out, which was why it was late anyway. But yeah, unfortunately, good health for Olympus, and I hope you're back to perfect condition soon. Perfect walking order is what I was meant to say, but I get tongue tied occasionally, so hey ho. Anyway, what we're here to do is review this fourth episode of season 5. So let's get straight into this. As you can see, my layout is slightly different, and I got a reason for that, other than me just being by myself, and that is so I can show some images as I go along. Hopefully these won't be copyrighted. Let's start off with the beginning of this, which we get a Klingon farm. This looks to me, very American style, because of course it's an American show. But yeah, you have who we find out is Captain who we found out from the end of last season, helping Mariner, and throughout this first part, he is chasing Targ around and failing miserably to do that. You got his brother trying to put some flashy horns and actually I don't think any horns, but it's mouthpieces on there on his ship from a brush devil that he ran over. And yeah, throughout this bit, which is what I was trying to say earlier, is you have this somebody trying to communicate with him, which we later find out, and what I thought originally was Beckett Mariner. So that was a bit of father. Obviously, he doesn't really want to talk anymore. And actually, I know that over the seasons, the title sequence has changed, but for this one, for just an episode, we get this tranquil farm, country, rural start to it, which is a great farm. The farm title you can see on the screen. Captain Mark picking worms, and it's being watered over them around the area, I presume, to get them moving around. And they use that for blood wine. You can see them stamping onto them and around the blood like you would with grapes for wine, which was quite fun to see. Then you see them boarding to go to somewhere else on Kronos. You can see them doing their blood wine delivery, which we later find out is running a bit late. I don't know exactly why. Maybe he was failing miserably to get Targs. That's probably why. This was quite fun, but Mariner eventually got hold of him. He had a few knives in the screen there. We later find out what she's up to and why she wants a captain to help, but we'll leave that for a little bit. And then we end up with some music eventually, after a little bit of a crash land because of the bones on the ship catching on something, you have this band. I'm trying to work out what they called this type of band, but thrush, because there was a thrush lute, so I'm presuming this is a Klingon thrush band, which was kind of cool. I kind of like it. So you have them send the delivery. So our next bit is we get to find Captain Mars' love interest, who is played by Mary Chieffo of Klingon fame from Star Trek Discovery, which I didn't find out until after that she was playing her. And you have the coming up the famous boob window scene, or not? It probably is famous by now, but from the trailer. But yeah, you find out how he lost his captaincy, which is ends up being the running theme and him trying to get his captaincy back throughout the episode, with the help of our esteemed friends Boimler and Mariner. But before we get to that, we had, like we have in the previous episodes, two stories running. It's like an A and a B story running along. This one is involving our Calaxian doctor, who's very nervous, trying to meet some celebs, Sir Legnog and Madame Gonard, who are food critics, and we find out, I think this may have been mentioned before, but how they found warp drive is so they could go and find new types of food throughout. This was quite fun, and I did quite like when he asked how's my plumage, and Rutherford said Downy, or Downing, which was quite cool in my head. This was a very short scene, so we're going to head back to Kronos, where we find the lovely moustache of Boimler, and he is getting really Klingon-esque and manages to pee off our Captain Ma here, who was getting to know his friend there. So he's probably really doesn't want to know now. But yeah, other than Boimler's face and attempt at growing a beard and having this joke later about it, he's getting really excited that this is where Martok killed 12 Ulupu, and I know I butchered that, but this, we find out it's a chain, maybe sort of like a Weatherspoons, where you have one in every town, or several in each town, which is quite fun. And yeah, how for somebody who's such a wimp and didn't like skiing, was happy to get chucked around just because it's very Klingon of him to do this. We basically have the Mariner and Boimler saying, "Oh, we can't leave you here. We can't go away because it's our duty to do this, because otherwise we will have to get eaten by bears." Which I'm surprised Boimler managed to remember that he was in on this, or he must have been in on this to do it. But yeah, it was sweet that they came in here, and because of Boimler's knowledge of Klingon culture, he knew that there was a ritual of Jaffa. Excuse my pronunciation on Klingon, but it's about to get his captaincy back for our Klingon Captain Mal. So, next bit on this is we headed back up to the ship, where we get our guests beaming aboard with two sort of like security guards, or almost looking like guards for politicians, especially in America. That kind of looking forward, and we find the Claxians very stuck up and arrogant. I know we've had a lot of those types of characters in the Star Trek, but these ones were very not, like in the corridors, the carpets not being hoovered, etc. So they had to cover their eyes as well. It was funny and annoying at the same time. Then we went down to the oversight council chambers. Another short scene, which I'd say in this situation was good. It's, you didn't have much of a story on the other one, so it is spreading it out a bit. You had a bit of road rage when back on Kronos by the council chambers there. We had another Klingon from Mariner's Past. The one was Ipat's Chlorine, who remembered Mariner's name and Brimbo's name, or Boimler in this occasion. And they get denied, but thankfully for Boimler, he helped with mentioning the ritual. He is as good as any, or if not better than any Klingon with his knowledge. The only person I could think that would be better with his knowledge is probably Worf. Which makes sense because he's Klingon, but he actually got brought up outside of the Klingon Empire, so he learned a lot that way, similar to Boimler, which were Boimler. I can't say his name right now, which was interesting. And we found out they had to go through endurance, strength, and sacrifice, which we will see, which we saw throughout the episode, which was quite fun in my appearance. This was a very dark looking episode. When I say dark, the background was dark. And it probably did completely contrast it when we had the Cerritos going on. So that was a lot. I noticed that was a lot lighter. Normally I wouldn't notice quite as much, but it was when I was trying to take images for this that it was very noticeable. So we ended up going back to the Cerritos, which we did spend a little bit more time at this time, with the meal being served, which was very nice. What was it? A Jaws, a Mordonian beef loin with mac and cheese. It was a crumble top. So I like that they had a fancy bit of French or such like first, and then mac and cheese, which was nice. Which were fun, but it did actually look very delicious, the food, when they served it up. But what was really fancy was their cutlery. Bring their own cutlery later, and as you notice on the right hand side there's like a beak shaped one, which was they used for picking up the stuff, and it was like feeding, like a bird feeding the youngsters, which was, I love that detail for it. It's one of the best parts for it. And then they just didn't like it, this meal, moaned about it, found out it was replicated, and moaned even more, and one of them even fainted, or pretended to faint in the security guards thing, and one of them gave our dear psychologist doctor a slap, or a flapping. So the slap was or what would have been a wing, but not a wing on this application because he's got hands, but well, he's still got a bit of a wing. But anyway, that was interesting. See, now you can tell everybody's getting annoyed, especially Captain Freeman, and throughout this, and she is trying to remain calm, and she is defending her crewman there, but she's letting him take the lead, and gets the idea that they need to make a proper meal without replicated stuff, which they do. So, but before that, we had another cutscene down to the planet, or when I say the planet, in this occasion it is Kronos, because we end up going seeing 3 planets in this, and the surface of 2. Or when I say the surface, we land on the surface of 2. So let's get the next bit up. So we get our friends arriving for the first part of their test. The rite of unending pain, which we see a version of in TNG Season 2 with Dr. I can't even say it name properly now, but not Dr. Bashir. And Dr. Bashir's DS9, not Dr. Crusher, but which was interesting. But we find this goes up in pain levels. But yeah, they're going on this. The brother's not interested. Mariner's backing up the captain and a friend. But it's probably the most interested of the lot. Captain is doesn't really have the heart for it, but he's going along. And Boimler's loving himself. Going to have a look at the batlifts and going along there. Really good. And once they've agreed that everybody is going out, because they needed 4 people, so they made sure the brother was there. They brought him along, and they went through this rite of unending pain. And then we get in towards the end where they haven't got any energy, and then the brother helps, and Boimler really uses his brain cell before it gets fried to say, this is what we need to do because of the amount of power going through. I've heard written down that 30,000 volts is not enough to necessarily kill you, but considering this goes over, you've already been electrocuted twice, and this happens 3 times, and I don't know if it's 30,000 between the 2 sticks or 30,000 each from each sticks, but between 3 and 6 together, yeah, you needed that. And Boimler definitely saves the day here. I think he's definitely up for a promotion by the end of the series. Oh dear, Boimler. And yeah, I think he will be definitely be a captain sooner rather than later. If it was in the show, it would be brilliant, but it's maybe off screen or even seeing a film eventually or something. I hope he does. So we go back up to our the ship, where you see this amazing amount of chopping by Tindy, who gets complimented on her Dyson. Who says she's had a lot of training with this probably through her upbringing, of course, and you've seen that at the beginning of the show. Now, the picture on the screen, I found interesting that you had what appears to be like a modern cooking, like a stand with cooking implements on it, so almost you can see in a kitchen. Was that? But there's also like the books nearby as well, and think. So I'm thinking this is in in his quarters, in Doctor's quarters. And this, yeah, nice bit, and even we have Rutherford checking the. I don't, if I don't know if it's a soup. I think it was a soup, but it could have been like a sauce as well. And then you had the captain bringing out what was cooked in the oven, a hog for fish galantite, um, which, yeah, absolutely looks disgusting. Um, you got onions on the as a bed of it, or some kind of other things, um, and then you have our two critics come in. You have the gods there first, and then stand aside so they can walk in. Gods making sure everything's okay, of course, doing their job, um, and this time it's just they have just a little drop of food, or a bit. It looks like a bit of fruit, like a blueberry or something, dropped on the tongue, and then it was like they whinged, and it was like, "Where's the salt on this?" And they said, got told there's lots of salt, and it looks like they almost changed their minds. And it's like, yeah, that's why it's overdone. It's too much salt, and they have a go at our doctor, who's like prepared to take it on the chin, and then it was just like, how bad can the punishment be? You know, it was just like it was ended up banning his family from the Great Seaton chart. So I can imagine it's like a wedding party where you have all the families and or groups on the seats, and this one actually goes really has all the families on it, saying, this is the product, you have this family on table one, the most important families. It's like middling ones like on 50, and then it's like on 100 you have like all the low life families or something like that. I do like the like that. So he's taken away, and this is where they first come across that it's like there is something very odd here. Attendees clicked onto this big style with that. Then we head to the next challenge down on Kronos, which is a big fight. Was this massive Targ, which we later find out is Matey's pet, so he's not seeming like he's really taking this seriously, or their guys here take it seriously, and they work out and use the brother to work out that how to stop it, and he took the lead and Captain Man had to trust him a bit, and that one was Mariner saying this, and it was like basically grab all their legs. Captain got knocked off into the force field around the side. Looks like an electric fence basically, and there was a bit of a jibe in saying it's like, oh no, we as in three of us you got knocked over there. So that was interesting. So by this stage, they weren't just not having their heart in it, they were getting fed up that they were being overly mistreated in this. They weren't having a fair fight, weren't taking this seriously, and it was just like, yeah, we're going to have to sacrifice it. And then you had like the first part, which was to sacrifice a person. Captain is obviously prepared to sacrifice himself and keep his honour, or get back his honour, dying in his honour, so prepared to do that. And then it was like they, between everybody other than the one who's trying to punish them, they decided that they had to have time to think, and like Mara and the Sarah was coming up to the plan, and it was like they only needed 2 out of the 3 to vote to let him come back as a captain. And Boimler actually in this one volunteers himself to die in this, which is, yeah, it's like he's setting some respect for this culture here, and it's like, yeah, he's happy to prove himself on this one. But we'll get back into the next pit, which was a nice way of doing the honour and Klingon thing and Federation thing into this next. So, next bit is we end up below the Calaxian Nest World. And we find out that they're in prison. You get no butter with your food, which is there's the punishment in itself, which is very odd. And Tendi is like reading parents like all these reviews. They're all horrible. These are not particularly great, all of them. And it's like there's one place should be getting great food, so they've had plenty of time to make their food perfect. So they shouldn't be getting bad food. And they decide to go back, get them sent off down to the planet, to go to prison. The crew go with them, and down there, and then quickly back to the next part on Kronos, which is we find Borg, the person who is not letting them be him, man, being captain. You see him asleep, taking a nap, and we have everybody come in and saying we got the right of forced conscript, which we heard here get mentioned earlier on, and this is and Borg is not having it, but this is witnessed by our pirate Klingon. One was a patch, and they end up in a battle fight, which was quite nice, a bit short, and you end up with our Klingon being with the bat left to his neck and then submitting, and it's like, what do you plan with me? It's like I've won, whatever. One of you have to be sacrificed, and then it's like it hasn't dawned on them yet when Boimler points out that it's like, yeah, you've been conscripted, we are going to sacrifice, and then they all tend to join in. It's like, yeah, you're going to be the sacrifice one. Make me a captain. You don't have to die. But he ends up dying anyway after he stabs our captain in the back. Very un-Klingon. He gets their revenge. I thought he was going to spend longer. It was going to be harder to live, for him to live. I thought they were going to have to do a lot more first aid on him. But basically, they get what they want with that, and they get their captain, Klingon captain, which was really nice. Not quite ending, but it was a really nice ending to this little arc here. But let's pick up to our next other planet, which was the I never named it, but Calaxian, or the Calaxian Nest World, which I liked in its name. And then you see them pass over this introductory meal for people landing, even prisoners. And you see them pass the food to the Rutherford. He goes to pass it to the captain, but you see Tindy's back there, who I didn't really click to straight away. I didn't really think about it, to be honest. And yeah, and pass it on, and they get to eat this meal, and then you'll have Doctor going, something's odd here. It smells like poo, but they used a bit stronger words than that. And it was like, yeah, and you had everybody uh, do that, and it was just like, and they admitted then it was just like, we've lost our taste buds. We've got no idea where is this. We've just given our bad reviews because of that, and then you had our dear Doctor Migley say do his almost like captains, or not captains, like baddies or detective on a crime mystery, especially like on Orient Express sort of thing, where it's like explains everything and says these guys have to treat while we're doing this, while I'm doctoring you for this disorder here, you have to serve us the best meals. And it's like they do go. I can't remember if it's Tindy or Rutherford or both go. It's just unethical, and it's like 3 minutes. As I goes, let him have this one. He's done well. Let him have this one. It's not a major deal. Which was the last bit of this nice like B story for this, which I'm glad we had a bit of a B story on this, which was really good. And they've throughout the series, I've been loving having the two concurrent stories. I hope they do match up again. And by the way, I do miss Tallinn on this thing, but I hope they do match up again. But let's get the true finish of the story in. I didn't really explain on the end of this because I wanted to mention this bit, but we had them celebrating with a drink, some blood wine in the back of the shuttle, and Mariner and Boimler all enjoying some blood wine in a celebration and saying, yeah, and the Klingons saying, well done for succeeding in your mission. And it's like, no, we haven't yet. This is only the start. The real reason we came here was to find this dimensional rift, which they did, and they believe this is man-made, or not necessarily man-made, but artificially made, and they got some readings from it to say that, and they're hoping, I presume, try to find out more. Maybe when they go to the next episode, we're going to a space station, I think. Maybe find out a bit more. Who knows? But yeah, they pack up, and we end up finding the captain's got his new ship here, which was similar to how General Martok started off, or Chancellor Martok started off his life with. And he's got his brother as a first officer who decides to stab himself in the leg. Imagine a very Boimler thing to do. Then you see the shuttle go off in the sunset. So this is actually a very, in summary, a very good episode. This is actually not, we don't have them doing actually the bit that they came to here to do. We don't see don't see them necessarily being Starfleet on a sciencing. You see them doing a diplomacy to build up to being they're doing a diplomacy to build up to their sciencey bit to do their main job. So this was very Federation, very Starfleet, but not in the way that we usually see. We don't usually see the build up. This was what, and they left the major story bit to the side, which can explain it. And it was almost like a secondary story that was not relevant to the plot, even though this was relevant to the plot because this was the bit they do before. And for me, very good. Is this the best one yet? Yeah, maybe. I would say not necessarily. I've got to say possibly yes because of what it's built up to possibly be. This would is a standalone one, but it also builds on what is to come. So very very enjoyable. And can I say thank you for watching, guys? Find me at Trek Wars and Fantasy on YouTube and Twitch, and Trek Wars and Fantasy on Twitter. I hope to have my co-host back next week, Olympus, and I hope you all can wish him to get all the best. So thank you, and live long and prosper.